Good morning to those of you joining us here in Europe, but also greeting to those joining us from further abroad. I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to the Boysen-TU Dresden Summer School Mobility in Transition. Regardless of where you are joining us from, regardless of your particular field of scientific interest, just one second, little technical issue. We are all here because we share that same curiosity about and desire to bring about change within our central theme for these two coming days, mobility and transition. We plan to tackle this global socio-technical shift and its interdisciplinary facets through our individual experiences and research. And through that shared information and gained knowledge, we'll all be better advocates for the effective change we seek within this imminent transition of mobility. And especially warm welcome, of course, goes to our high-profile speakers, these international and national researchers. Their international academic backgrounds and diverse areas of activity and epitome are the epitome of the interdisciplinary focus of this summer school and the Boysen-TU Dresden training group overall. We are looking forward to these 2 days ahead of us, filled with inspiring presentations, open discussions, and lively panel discussions. During the summer school, we will focus not only on certain technological innovations that the mobility transition calls for, but we'll also approach the mobility transition from the perspective of social science. We will take a look at local and global challenges in transport and discuss topics within policy and economy, as well as learn about planning of future transport infrastructure and urban design. Last but not least, as the mobility transition will be a process pushed by, shaped by, and used by society as a whole, we will also have the possibility to discuss ethical and legal issues that cannot and should not be ignored. As many of you are no doubt aware of, is that this summer school is organized by the Boysen-TU Dresden Research Training Group, a group of motivated young researchers from different fields and backgrounds gathered in one place for a common goal, a really cool group. What you may not be aware of is who's paying the bills, and our work in this summer school are thankful for the financial support of the Friedrich and Elisabeth Boysen Foundation, the Technische Universität Dresden, and Dresden Concept. We thank all of them for this great opportunity, as it literally could not be done without them. At this point, I'd like to introduce the spokesmen, meaning the heads of the board of the research training group, Professor Hurtado and Professor Lutz Hagen. Antonio Hurtado is currently the head of the chair of hydrogen and nuclear energy at TU Dresden, and his research focuses lies in the areas of nuclear safety of existing and future nuclear power plants, as well as novel energy and hydrogen technologies. Professor Hurtado, Antonio, is one of the founding fathers of the research training group and a passionate driving force of the group, with its consistently high demands concerning the quality of research and being carried out. Antonio, thank you for joining us today. Please also welcome Professor Lutz Hagen, co-spokesman and executive director at the chair of communication, especially economic and political communication. His research focuses on communications, especially the production, reception, and impact of news. He also spends much of his time dealing with empirical research methods, especially surveys, content analysis, computer-assisted methods, and topics related to online communication, which seems more than relevant for this event coming up the next 2 days. We are very grateful for the support of these two gentlemen and their deep commitment to the Boysen-TU Dresden Research Training Group. As for myself, my name is Anna Martius, and I'm the Managing Director of the Research Training Group. I will be moderating this first session for you, and at this point, I would like to hand the microphone over to the heart of the Research Training Group, Antonio.
Thank you very much, Anna. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me emphasize how much I appreciate the huge organizational effort that has been done by all organizing members of our Boysen-TU Dresden Research Training Group in order to finally realize this wonderful summer school. It was already planned for 2020 as a one-week summer school with about 30 to 35 attendees in Dresden. Unfortunately, it had to be postponed and finally changed to a virtual conference, and by that, as a 2-day event. We recognize that this organization was done under very less than ideal and extremely challenging conditions, and we are really proud that we are finally meeting today to open this summer school. The whole group did very well and the professional really did shine through. Thanks go out to our PhD students and especially to Anna Martius, who we just heard from. Considering some of the advantages of this virtual summer school, it is indeed a perfect example of the possibilities and alternatives embraced within the sustainable mobility transition. More than this, we are now able to reach out to and involve many more participants worldwide. More participants, that means more exchange, that means more results. Please use this unique and inspiring event, combining expertise and experiences from very different research areas to deepen and broaden your knowledge about your own fields of research. But also use this chance to network on a global basis. Reach out to each other, applaud each other, challenge each other. Take this chance to connect. Questions and remarks, for sure, are very much appreciated during the discussions. Perhaps those new connections will lead to discussions in person one day if you have the opportunity to visit our beautiful and historic city of Dresden. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, I'd like to say a few words about the history of this interdisciplinary research training group. Founded in 2012, we started with 10 young scientists under the supervision of the principal investigators. The core was and continues to be interdisciplinary research connected to a very special educational concept. The first group worked together with for 3.5 years on sustainable energy systems and the interactions of technical designs and social acceptance. In 2015, with the second research training group, 12 new PhD students started the project with a focus on strategies to clean, secure, and competitive energy systems, looking to technical feasibility and social impacts. In 2019, the third group, the one that organized the summer school, started. This group is made up of 19 PhD students from all over the world, and their work revolves around topics concerning mobility in transition, challenges and solutions for technology, environment, and society. Before I hand the microphone over to my valued colleague and friend Lutz Hagen, let me just underline the contribution made by the Boysen-TU Dresden Research Training Group in terms of TU Dresden becoming one of the 11 German universities of excellence in 2012. As a project that was unique at this time and had a real pilot character, it was a critical selling point within TU Dresden's application for excellence status. The excellence title confirms the potential of one of Germany's largest technical universities. At the same time, however, this award is a great responsibility and an incentive to stay and to become even more excellent. We are convinced that the Boysen-TU Dresden Research Training Group, with its outstanding and special potential for future generations to come, will, without a doubt, help shape a more excellent TU Dresden. I'm really convinced. And let us all learn from successful examples, including those we will see during this summer school. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that's enough from me for now. Lutz will now go more into detail about the concrete research within the third research training group. Lutz, may I pass the microphone over to you, please? Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Antonio. It's a pleasure. The support of young and ambitious artists. This is one of the most important goals that we follow, that we pursue here in the Boysen-TU Dresden Graduate School. And let me shortly explain some key features to how we try to achieve this goal. For one thing, we aim for truly holistic approaches. We connect perspectives of engineering, of the STEM sciences, and we combine them with perspectives from social sciences and humanities, and immersively join them into research clusters and projects. The students are working on common projects. Through that cooperation, they are training their basic understandings of other disciplines on a daily basis. They learn from each other, and by that, consider and combine perspectives and methods from different disciplines to adapt to their own projects. We are networking internationally. We have got 19 students from 8 countries. And if you take the supervisors and add them, it's an international conglomerate coming from 12 countries. And that's also one key to our success. We're working together in shared spaces, both real and virtual. It's also important that people are coming and working together in one space. This is our philosophy. And in this way, we hope to make important contributions to current research to overcome the challenges of and the calls for needed transformations, such as those dealing with traditional mobility concepts. And that's our issue of this third group: mobility in transition, challenges and solutions for technology, environment, and society. This topic is split into 4 subtopics, which form the leading issue for each of 4 clusters. And the 19 doctoral projects do research in each one of the 4 clusters. And clusters do converge thematically. About the 4 different clusters. Cluster A is the cluster that is specialized on material science and how to develop and produce special synthetic fuels in order to avoid exhaust emissions and to minimize environmental damage and health damage. The transition of mobility is thereby illuminated from the perspective of engineering. That's our so-called material cluster, whereas the second cluster is our logistics cluster, and of course it concentrates on challenges and demands regarding logistics. The individual projects address questions of how previously stationary production sites can be replaced by a network of production resources which are dynamic also in terms of space, and that dynamically adapt to their
So, welcome from my side, from the Dresden Concept. I'm very happy that I have the opportunity to introduce the concept in a few minutes. Mobility in transition is the topic of this highly interesting summer school. And you already heard it is strongly dependent on the interaction of the collaboration of various scientific disciplines. And Dresden Concept is, I think, a very good, an excellent example how the collaboration between institutions can be fostered. Sorry. So if we have a look on the scientific landscape in Dresden, we see that we have many institutions, scientific institutions beside the university, the Technical University Dresden. We have a number of smaller universities, and we have several Max Planck institutes, several institutions of the Helmholtz Association, of the Fraunhofer Association and Leibniz Alliance. But we also have a number of museums and collections which are very interested in science or by themselves actively make research. So we have an extremely high density here, a local high density, and in 2000, 10 or 11, when we were preparing our application for the Excellence University, already mentioned by Antonio, we realized that this is something like a unique selling point for our city, for the TU Dresden, because not only is the high number of institutions, but also the tight collaboration between these institutions was obviously already achieved. So the Dresden Concept Alliance was founded, and you see here now the map of Dresden and the locations of the various member institutions. Currently we have 33 member institutions in our alliance. Now, what was the aim of this alliance? Now, the mission is, of course, to identify and finally also exploit synergies between the university and all the Dresden non-university research institutions at all levels, from research to teaching, to administration, but also to infrastructure. So, to give a few examples, we want and actually do identify and coordinate research priority areas. In Dresden, we have or support each other in joint appointments. So very often one institution is not able to provide all what is needed for the appointment of excellent researchers. And finally, we also have a number of shared resources. So how do we gain these collaborations? Now we have implemented a number of measures, and some of them, the most important, are listed here. So we have, for example, scientific area committees. So we defined scientific areas which are strong here in Dresden. Currently, we have defined 4 such areas. And within these committees, researchers from all the member institutions work together. They regularly meet and they report, so everybody knows what is going on in these institutions. And they also then propose and actually initiate new applications for new cluster, for example. Then we have the scientific area networks. Now this is similarly, but at a, let's say, a more basic level. So we identify topics that may be of interest or should be of interest for Dresden. And we invite in these networks all researchers from senior scientists to PhD students to collaborate on a specific topic. For example, only last week we initiated a new scientific area network on artificial intelligence, I think also a topic in Boysen-TU. Then we have a measured lunch retreats. That means once in a month, one of the topics is introduced to the community of Dresden Concept members, high potential topics, which are presented and discussed. Sorry. And then we have Dresden Concept Summer Schools. I mean, the best example is given here. So we identify those summer schools which are truly living from interdisciplinarity and when possible support them. And we have also implemented a research group, Dresden Concept research groups. These are research groups of young independent group leaders that are financed half by, for example, the university and half by one of the member institutions. And so they working together from the very beginning. Now, in addition to these measures, we have a number of platform technologies that are available for all the scientists here in Dresden. And I give a few examples. We have, for example, a common Dresden Concept Welcome Center that is supporting international guests and their families when they arrive here in Dresden. So from finding a flat to finding correct insurance, health insurance, to give an example. Then we have another example, the Dresden Concept Genome Center. This is one of the leading genome centers in Germany. So whoever is interested in having state-of-the-art genomic technologies can go to the center. We have the so-called BioDip. It is a collection of the very best microscopes. So whenever there is a need for microscopy, you can go to BioDip and find the best microscope. Then we have the technology portal. This is an online portal in which all the available infrastructure in Dresden at the university, at the partner institution is listed, and also the techniques. So whenever you are looking for a new instrument, you should first of all have a look at the technology portal. Maybe this instrumentation is already present here and can be used. And finally, we have the science calendar, which gives a complete overview of all the scientific activities going on in Dresden at one glance. Yeah, so I think with this I end. So I think we have here a nice example how institutions can collaborate and bring together their expertise and gain synergies. And with this I end, and I wish you an interesting and nice summer school. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Rödel, for this very interesting presentation, and we are really thankful for your contribution in any way, and we look forward to our cooperation in future and hope for a long and fruitful relationship. I would like to conclude with some information on the number and demographics of our summer school participants, which will help you to gain the impression of how wide-ranging and global this event will be. Per session, we have 50 to 100 registrations, and altogether 334 registrations from 69 countries. 30% of the registered persons are master students, 30% young professionals, and the rest is shared between PhD students and undergraduates. And of course, we have our very valuable guests that I just saw that are joining from our PIs or interested professors from our university, for example. We have countries here like, of course, USA, India, Germany, but also very small countries like Zimbabwe, or we have a person from Uganda, and we are really impressed how wide-ranging this advertisement was for our summer school. So thank you for joining us, and hello to everybody again. And since we have reached so many of you out there today, I don't want to miss the opportunity to say some words concerning a matter of heart, near and dear to me and to us, all of us together. We are going to publish a special issue in the MTPI journal Sustainability with the title Mobility in Transition. It's dedicated to our summer school, and I would like to encourage you to check out our call for papers, and you get more information via the slides between the sessions, but also on the webpage from MTPI, and to make things easier, it can be also found on the website of the Research Training Group. Deadlines are now extended since we want to encourage you, and for the abstract, it's the 31st of August, and for the full paper, the 31st of December this year. Now, if that wasn't enough to get your attention, I'll let you in on a little secret. You now already know two of the guest editors for this special issue, Lutz, Hagen, and me. And I hope that's enough motivation for some of you to consider submitting a paper. Finally, a few organizational remarks from my side. You probably realized already that there will be a waiting room before the Zoom meetings containing rules, procedures, and code of conduct. And there will be also different labeled breakout rooms during the breaks, and we hope you feel motivated to interact and reach out to each other. Feel encouraged to benefit from this chance and to network internationally.